All right, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Fast Forward Education Summit. We are absolutely thrilled to have you here with us this morning and to give you the opportunity to connect with leaders just like yourselves who are sharing their stories, successes, and opportunities with all of us today. I saw in the chat earlier a few shout outs. I saw Brooklyn, New York is in the house. Love the pizza from Brooklyn. Good morning to Missouri. I actually used to live in Kansas City, so Battles Barbecue, hope you're in the house there. My name is Justin, and I am the Education Solutions Consultant for Smart Technologies in the Carolinas, and I am based in sunny, beautiful Huntersville, North Carolina. In just a moment, I will go ahead and introduce our presenter, but just a few quick housekeeping items before we get there. So depending on the type of device that you are using this morning, you'll notice at the top or bottom of that device, you'll see a menu bar to interact with the presentation today. During the presentation, if you have any questions or comments as we move along, feel free to throw those in the chat box. We'll have several of us on the line from Smart monitoring the chat, answering questions, and we'll also periodically throughout the presentation verbalize some of those questions to Kyle, our presenter, and we'll take questions at the end for a Q&A portion as well. Finally, we encourage you to share your experience at this session and at the overall Fast Forward Education Summit on social media. If you use the hashtag FFWDedu, and we will throw that in the chat momentarily, you'll qualify to win some prizes from the brand new Smart eStore. So with that, let's go ahead and get this rolling. For this morning's session, imagine all the students rethinking the classroom setup. I am pleased to introduce to you Kyle Jones, Chief Technology Officer of Florence One Schools in Florence, South Carolina. Kyle and I have come to become, I'd say, close friends, worked together really tightly and closely over the last 5 years on some major implementations of smart products within Florence One Schools. Today, Kyle will be discussing how the pandemic led Florence One Schools to increased creativity, critical thinking, and skill building in a flexible learning environment. He'll also talk about how Florence One's successes, lessons learned, and new practices will be implemented upon the return to school. So with that, welcome, Kyle. Thank you for being with us. The floor is all yours.
Well, thank you so much for that kind introduction. I appreciate it. I'm going to share my screen real quick. So I'm happy to be with you this morning for the Smart Technologies Fast Forward Educational Summit. I certainly feel like the team has titled this correctly. We have been in fast and furious mode, light speed, and we are definitely moving forward. I am the Chief Technology Officer for Florence One Schools, and I'd like to take a little time this morning to tell you about our current educational ecosystem as we try to continue to evolve during these most challenging times. And when we say all, we do mean all students. So as we design our classrooms of the future, we are inclusive of all our students, and we believe in building and designing a robust, collaborative, interactive educational ecosystem. And I'm happy to share a little bit with you this morning. I want to tell you a little bit about the Florence One Playbook. Just as an entire system, we really start early in Florence One. We believe strongly in early childhood education. We drill down as early as 3K, and if we could do universal preschool, partner with our state, we'd start that tomorrow. Simply stated, we have the data now over probably about a 20-year period that if we start our students out at that early age and we are able to retain them throughout our system, those are our highest flyers and strongest achieving students throughout our school system. We've got a lot of great stuff in the middle, but as we get to our secondary option, we also create strong partnerships with several large universities. I'm sure you've heard of Clemson and Carolina. But we've also got Francis Marion University in our backyard and Florence Darlington SIMT building, which is kind of on the national map as well. And we really value those strong partnerships and bring in additional choices for our students. So if you've got your act together and you come to Florence One Schools, you can leave with 2 years college credit, which is certainly beneficial to mom and dad. So I want to tell you a little bit where you are this morning. Florence is the exact middle way between Miami and New York City. And as Justin alluded, we have some New York attendees. We're a diverse school district, and that's important to us. When you come visit or you see any of our social media, we simply want you to see yourself in our school district. We believe that's important. We're kind of in the heart of the PD region, Northeast South Carolina. Florence One Schools is the 15th largest district in our state. We've got a little over 16,000 students. Florence One is currently in the midst of what we call Florence One in 2021, and that's been a aggressive 3-year strategic plan. And those goals and focused on increased investments in classroom programs. So that's additional choice for our students. And we've also focused on technologies while attracting and retaining exemplary teachers. We are guided by a single principle in Florence One Schools. All the decisions that we make are guided by the aspirations to put students first. That's on our hang tag. I know that sounds simplistic, but in education, we often talk a lot, and then the students kind of come in on the next layer. But we start all our initiatives, and as we build out and ask on the front end, is this what is best for students? And then we move forward. I also want to tell you how important that meaningful parent and community engagement is. You'll see that interwoven into our fabric. In Florence One Schools, if you'll come in, we often do orientations, and it's important for our parents as you go to school today, even for our parents that may have graduated 5 or 10 years ago. School is very different now, and we want them to understand how their students will be attending our classrooms and interacting with the different platforms and instructional resources that we have. And I think we do a good job for our parents to see that school is different, and it's important for them to see that firsthand. So I definitely encourage you to do that as well, and that's been extremely beneficial on our end. So kind of diving into the building and designing of the robust classroom and educational ecosystem, we started about 18 months ago behind the walls. And that was the first step. We had to ensure that we had an infrastructure that allowed students collaboratively and they had full connectivity on all campus spaces, which you now know has been extended into the home. But wherever they were in our buildings, whether that was a classroom, a cafeteria, a gymnasium, a multi-purpose room, a learning commons, an auditorium, we wanted to make sure that they had full connectivity to work on those educational assignments. Then we kind of layered in our one-to-one initiative that we codenamed Imagine Forward, and we began expanding K through 12 devices for all students and teachers. And when we say all, we mean just that, all. All our students have been touched with these initiatives that I just shared. And then last summer, as Justin alluded to, and it certainly wasn't for the faint of heart, but we started a 70-day initiative and renovated 945 classrooms from elementary to middle and standardized on the MX Smart Panel. And it was important for us after we had done these two things that we began developing that classroom of the future with those interactive tools that our teachers and students could quickly cast and share different instructional assignments. And they could, in the rooms that we began building out, we brought in collaborative furniture that you could make, pods of 2, 4, 6, and 8. But we also have a lot of existing furniture. So you can utilize what you have there and build out that classroom. And we began to kind of see, how we could touch these 5 students maybe on an interactive activity, These 5 students may be working on some type of remediation, and these 5 may be working on some type of project-based learning with a team. And that has really become the transformative way that we've been designing our instruction in our traditional face-to-face model. Now, COVID-19 hit, and I'm about to share with you a little bit about that journey. We certainly did not anticipate that as we were doing these build-outs, but it helped us be at such a level that we really didn't miss a beat when that happened. So I'd like to share with you, starting on March 13th, I was actually at our State Department, and our directive was to come up with a very in-depth plan to provide 10 days of e-learning. And previous to that, we had been one of the 10 districts in South Carolina that was in an e-learning cohort that focused on the needs of students and student connectivity. We were kind of writing the playbook, if you will, for our state. I came back, and before March 20th, I would have said our one-to-one implementation and e-learning would help us provide instruction maybe during inclement weather or some type of national disaster, or simply to pick up a professional development day. However, I think that e-learning cohort helped prepare us for COVID-19. We met as a cabinet that Sunday on March 15th, and we immediately shifted from grades 2 through 12 to begin e-learning the Monday, March 16th. And we immediately went into that mode, and we really didn't miss a beat. Our K and 1 students started with packets for the first couple weeks, but then we quickly transformed them. They picked up their devices, and we had them over into the digital platform. I think it's important to highlight that during this entire time that we began Facebook Lives to our community. I told you before that parent and community engagement was important to us, and it was vital as we made improvements week by week. By no means did we know at that time that we were going to be out for the rest of the year, but we kept engaging every week with our parents. And week 1, we stepped up to the plate, and we highlighted, we had already been working with several of our legislators in the state, even before you saw these big companies promote these promos. But we had done, by that 18-month journey, we had done a series of surveys to our parent community. And we had gotten to about a 95% connectivity level at that time. So we really honed in on the AT&T and Spectrum offerings in our areas for parents that had a need. They could get 60 days as a new customer, in-house, high-speed internet. And a lot of our parents immediately took up that offering. But during that time period, by those surveys, we had already identified the areas around our city that needed some additional coverage. Previous to that year, we had expanded our bus fleet. We have about 105 buses in district, and we had put cradle points with unlimited data on the entire bus fleet. And at that time, we had really focused on picking up the instructional time for mom and dad to and from school. So we wanted our students to be able to complete their homework and their instructional activities, going to school and coming home, and really just having some of that homework done before they got back to mom and dad. But we pivoted those, and we were able to put some of our busing fleet into those areas that we needed some additional coverage those first couple weeks. So those first 2 weeks, we were mobilizing the bus fleet, and daily we were looking at the analytics and the connectivity on those and monitoring and adjusting. And then we would communicate out each night where those would be positioned. The next thing that we did by week 3, we had airlifted some robust exterior Wi-Fi, and we added that to majority of our buildings district-wide, and that's going to be a great addition moving forward. We'll be utilizing that with student activities and athletics. But we then did some geocoded maps and put those online for mom and dad, and they were able to come to the school and be in our large campus parking lots, and that allowed students to complete their assignments safely from their cars. So that was well received. And then back to that March 15th day, and I really didn't think we would get these at the time. I put in an order for about 250 MiFis at that time with our AT&T provider that we have here. And that night, the federal government came up and snapped about 8,000 up and created a vast back order. So we were kind of monitoring and adjusting and preparing for that. But by week 3, we were able to get those MiFis in, and we immediately handed about 230 between week 3 and 4. We configured those MiFis to automatically connect to our Florence One devices. They were content filtered, and that kind of put us out of the busing side of things. We no longer had that need. Parents no longer had to come up to our buildings. And at that point in time, I was really excited to report that we had reached about a 99.5% connectivity rate for Florence One schools. That's kind of been unprecedented. We've been aggressively working on that for a while, but we believe just like water and the lights, connectivity falls in that same boat now. And we simply are in an educational system where connectivity is paramount. So,
absolutely. Kyle, if I can interject real quick, as we're right at about the halfway point here, and we do have a few questions about some of the logistical components on this page. And so our first question is, one, can you identify what is a cradle point? Was a common theme.
Sure thing. So a cradle point is, you can kind of think of that as a wireless access point that can be installed on a transportation fleet. So we take that device. We normally position it up front where you kind of have the flip down at the bus driver, and then you can close it up and safely it's secured. And then we wire those cradle points to the bus engine, and they are configured to turn off within 5 minutes of the bus shutting off. But during our transportation of all students, those cradle points are active, and our devices are automatically configured to connect to them. So our students are immediately on our busing fleet working on their instructional activities. And I will also denote that has helped us tremendously with any type of discipline issues. It keeps the students more engaged and has really been a great benefit.
Perfect. That answered the next question about were those actually attached to buses. So thank you for that. You segued nicely into that, sir. And then finally, quick question, the MiFi question. Is that and I know you got to this, but just to clarify, is that a personal Wi-Fi connection that can be brought into the home, or what exactly is that?
Absolutely. So that's a device, and we would assign one per family. So that's kind of your mobile Wi-Fi for your household. And we find that you can have up to 3 and 4 students sharing that within the house with that unlimited bandwidth connectivity, and it serves pretty well. But just like as you may have many, I have 3 girls at home, so we're always fighting for that bandwidth speed. So we just kind of monitor that and provide our parents additional information as if we have multiple children in the home.
Right. And then one more, just to clarify, those were not provided through AT&T or Spectrum. Those were purchased, correct?
That is correct. So
okay.
that was a non-budgeted purchase. Obviously, we could not have budgeted for that COVID epidemic. But our administration, I've got a great superintendent that supports technology and everything for our students, and I've got a great instructional team. And we made the commitment, and our board also supports, devices for our students and those instructional resources. And we made a commitment from the beginning that anybody that had that need that had previously been identified, that we were going to put that MiFi. And we did not just do that haphazardly. I also want you to know that each principal and their administration made personal contact with that family and verified that need before distribution. So I think that goes to speak to another level of our commitment to that parent and community engagement.
Absolutely. So as we are now past the halfway point, let's go ahead and keep moving on. That answered the bulk of those questions. Any additional questions? Everybody on the group will take these later in the Q&A portion. So let's go ahead and keep moving on, Kyle.
Thank you. So that's kind of our journey from March 13th to June. And as you see there, we're kind of responding collectively to our commitment to continue to reinvent ourselves and emerge stronger as an educational community. I want to say and highlight through that journey, we utilized SMART's online learning suite. The Florence One staff utilized the suite to create interactive and engaging lessons to enhance our e-learning experience, and we embedded those within Google Classroom. We had those interactive activities which helped our students connect with learning and capture those teachable moments. So we often talk about quality teaching and learning. And as we know as educators, not every lesson is of high quality. And we really wanted to focus on that high quality of teaching and learning. So I did not want to be reminiscent when we began that journey of renovating those classrooms. I was very clear to Justin that we had to have a multi-year journey of professional development, because we could simply have the greatest tools on earth, but if we didn't know how to use them, that was definitely not an optimal environment that we wanted to be in. So we created a 6-tiered PD plan for our students and teachers, and we began to during that first year implement the first 3 phases, and we focused on interactivities, project-based learning, gamification, and those type of things. And we picked up our time of our PLC groups and any grade level time we could get. And we wanted, after each one of those sessions, to leave our teachers with something meaningful and a lesson that they could immediately take back to the classroom. And I really think that was beneficial to us as we move forward. And right at the bottom, as it says there, that's one of our other themes. As we continuously improve, we ask ourselves each time as we implement something, how can we save instructional time, which is so valuable, so that our teachers can work and engage with our students more effectively, efficiently, and have a little bit more time with them on a daily basis. I can't reiterate before we get into kind of what we're doing for next school year, how critical student engagement is and has been in FS1. Our student engagement is critical with any platform that we discuss, adopt, or talk about. Having students involved in those interactive lessons to get that immediate, instantaneous feedback for our teachers is essential to keep them engaged and motivated with the digital platform. We did not adopt this. This was probably one of our original content filtering programs, but we also utilized Beacon with GoGuardian, and that seemed to be an excellent tool for us to help support remotely with some of our students that were struggling and help remediation as a teaching school. And I also want to tell you that, and I was really glad we did this, we split up our admin team across our teaching staff to ensure that none of our students were lost in the pandemic. You've seen some of the news stories that, we have 10,000 people nationwide that were lost, and where were those students? Well, we had our admin team co-teaching with each one of our students, or our teachers, and we split them up effectively. And if we noticed that some assignments or something wasn't happening, if it wasn't daily, it was definitely every other day, we were immediately engaging with those families and finding out if they needed anything and how we could help to get those students back engaged and those assignments completed. So I kind of allude to you, shared with you a little bit about the F1S umbrella And I kind of call this our competitive advantage. We all live in a world now where students and parents have more choices than ever before. So our mindset is, what is our competitive advantage to provide a first-class educational system? And we're going to provide a multi-tiered response to a health crisis, and we're going to have multiple educational instructional models. Our Facebook Lives to our community will begin again next month, as early as next week, and I'll be able to share with you some follow-up information. But I want to be key that we are building an educational system responding to a health crisis. It's not vice versa. So that was important as we began thinking about the safe return of our students and teachers. So beginning on September 8th, we are going to have all our students back. And we began option 1 with a AB, and that's an everyday AB, 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 AB. It's not, this thing on Monday, this thing on Tuesday. It's consecutive, if you will. Think about that as a calendar. And that will be a combination of our traditional face-to-face learning with the e-learning that we had done previously. And that method is where our course content and learning materials are taught in person with the group of students, and allows that live interaction between the learner and the teacher, which we find is very paramount. And we believe that, our learners will definitely greatly benefit with some type of level of interaction with their fellow students. And then on B days, they will work on those instructional assignments, any type of remediation, and utilize that e-learning platform. I do want to note that, all our courses will be aligned with our college and career readiness standards with the state. And then option 2, which opened last week, is our F1S Virtual Academy. And that's going to be a new full-time virtual option for our students, 5K to 12, that offers an alternative and really provides an online-based platform that offers students and teachers digital alternatives. So those, for our students that don't want to return yet back face-to-face, we're going to have that option. And we're really going to continue to develop both of those and continuously improve as we go on. And we'll be communicating those plans on our website, video, social media, letters, radio, any medium that we can with our community. Now,
and Kyle, real quick before we move on to this slide, as we approach the just about 10 minutes remaining points, just want to bring up and highlight this as we have talked about, and as Lane has talked about with the Smart Professional Development Team. At Florence One Schools, we're not worried, no matter which option students and families are choosing, about missing a beat, right? And that goes into essentially how the classroom was set up, right? Where we can walk in, whether that is in person or virtual, we flip that switch and it's all systems go, right? And that is a combination of smart and everything else you have in play. But is that an accurate statement?
That is accurate. I'm glad you brought that up, because nothing replaces quality direct instruction, monitoring, and remediation. And even with our virtual academy model, we're focused on what we can do, especially with our early learners, and so much of that cognitive development. Just think about teaching, a young child to read, how we can infuse some additional enhanced direct instruction, even if it's virtually, to our academic model. So as you think about things like that, I think we all struggle on that, and we're going to have more information for this group and our community next week. But we're thinking about any enhancement that we can do to not miss a beat.
Excellent. I think we're good to keep rolling along.
Well, coming back, and I know everybody's struggling on that. We have many supplies that have to be purchased, have been purchased, and that will be at the ready for day one. Students and teachers safely return. We estimate, and I think you've seen a lot of social media memes, we estimate that just these supplies, and we've got more for you on the next slides, will cost us about $1.5 million to reopen schools in 2020. And we really had to reinvent operations from the top down to resume our educational options in our school buildings. Last night, I sent Justin a Facebook, YouTube video that we just did for our community that highlighted the safe return, how we are social distancing in each hallway, in the cafeteria, in our common areas, in each classroom, and what that looks like, which I think kind of gives another level of assurity to our parents and students when we come back. But we by no means stopped here. We wanted to utilize technology in every effort and angle that we could to automate the processes. And we adopted Evolve's technology in our high schools a year ago, and that was really for the metal and bomb detection. But we're going to be adding a thermal scanning devices to each one of these systems, and they'll be able to very fast method scan large groups of students, which will still be social distance, but we'll be able to bring them in very quickly. We also went and looked at, obviously the nursing area is going to be one of the areas that could be one of our top contaminated areas, if you will. And we partnered with UV Angel and brought their product in. And that is a system that with UV light safely tucked away above ceiling will constantly 24/7 filtrate that air and provide a clean sanitary area for all our nursing areas. And then for elementary and middle school, we're in the process of implementing the Fortrick technologies, and that, just like the Evolve technologies, is a thermal scan. You can do about 8 students as you come in at a time. And then we didn't stop there. That was for students. We looked at a lot of different staff kiosks, and I think you'll see across the board, you've probably looked at them yourself. I mean, they're anywhere from $2,500 and up. And I asked the superintendent, after looking at all these, I said, well, what do you think about us just building our own? So we did just that. We utilized an Android tablet with a FLIR camera and found us a mount. And with a little bit of coding, we answered those CDC checklist symptoms that you're so familiar with. And we're going to have our staff come in each morning. It's going to be timestamped with their login. They're going to use their credentials. They're going to complete that checklist, and they're going to take a temperature read. So we're going to do that with, every day that we come in with our after school activities and with our athletics. And so it just reassures you of our commitment to returning safely and being socially distanced, even within our school settings, and being able to provide that quality direct instruction, which we all know is so greatly needed, and then providing the best, safest environment that we can possibly provide. I don't want to stop there. Our facilities will be cleaned both daily and nightly. We purchased, I call them the 360 cleaning machines. So they'll be utilizing electrostatic cleaning technology, and we'll go in and spray down each classroom and area daily. We're going to shut down our water fountains and set for the touchless bottle fill water stations that we've been installing, and same for our bathrooms. And I shared with you the UV ventilation systems. We're in the process now of even looking at some additional UV systems that could possibly be operated via robot. So the point is, at the end of the day, it's going to be a multi-tiered reopening approach to operations. And it was important for us to have our community and our parents and our students feel comfortable in this unprecedented time of coming back safely. That's my last slide. We are responding with a collective commitment, as you can see, to continue to reinvent ourselves. Our kind of culture behind the scenes is we're going to emerge stronger behind this. I do believe, as an educational entity and nationwide, we will be stronger at the end of the day when we come out on the other end. And I certainly appreciate you allowing me to share a little bit about Florence One Schools and our journey. And I hope that was meaningful and you found some value in the summit today.
Awesome. Kyle, we have a few questions on the line. Hoping you can provide some clarification too. Question from Amy is, under the Florence One model, will teachers be teaching both live in class and streaming live to kids at home at the same time? If so, how is this being accomplished?
So that is a great question, and I consider that a large puzzle, if you will. And we met with HR yesterday and dug deep. I believe that it would be very difficult for our teaching staff to teach in the AB cohort and on the virtual model. So what we're doing is taking a look at any of our staff that had a medical need or was caring for a high-risk medical family member, and they're not able to rejoin us face-to-face. So we're going to look at splitting that up, if you will. So we'll have teachers dedicated to our AB cohort instructional model, and then we'll be dedicating some of our teachers to supplement in the virtual academy model. Now, that build behind the scenes and all the educational programs that we have from K to 12, as you can imagine, is certainly a complex piece that our instructional department is digging deep into and working on as we speak.
Okay. There's a little bit of chatter going back and forth, Kyle. A lot of people seem to be pretty impressed with the setup, but just to clarify, Florence One Schools is a public school district, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And so it's not that there was, any additional funding or grants that came through this. This was accomplished through planning and an attack mentality to make this happen, correct?
That is planning, a lot of hard work, and I can't tell you, especially in that 70-day time frame that I shared with you, I can't brag on our department and their commitment. We're all salaried employees, but they worked with me on 3 different, I think we ran 3 different crews pretty much from 7 a.m. to well into past midnight to get those classrooms renovated. But it was the right thing to do for our students and for our teachers. So we were committed to get it done.
Certainly. And as you're going through that, Kyle, somebody commented, way to put the kids first. Love the commitment. I know that goes right into your line of thinking, your philosophy of students first at Florence One, right?
Number one thing.
Absolutely.
What's best for students?
Where there's a will, there's a way, we're saying. Another question that came in, somebody commented, wow, this is all cool new technology. This is a great plan. This must be only for like new construction schools, right? Or is this across the district in every building?
This is across the district. We have 30 locations within our school district, and we're doing this in every building.
Perfect. As you said that, came in, wow, very innovative, nice job, congratulations, okay? Chatter has kind of died down a little bit here with questions, Kyle. We will, to everybody on the list, we will go back through these and take a fine comb look, and if there is any follow-up that needs to happen, we'll make sure that happens. I want to thank everybody for being on the line with us this morning, and I really want to thank Kyle Jones for the presentation. I think myself included, seems like there was a lot of us who were just blown away by the plan, the implementation, not only during the pandemic, but the plan going forward to look to the safe return of students to Florence One Schools. So thank you, everybody, for being with us. Reminder, if you are on social media, our hashtag for not only this session, but for the overall event of the Fast Forward Education Summit is hashtag FFWDedu. Okay, so with that, thank you so much, everybody. We're going to go ahead and wrap this session up. This will be concluded. The meeting was recorded, and we can make that available. Thank you, everybody, so much. Have a great rest of the day.